A few years back I was still an apprentice at our small IT department. 3 full-time employees and me. This user interaction shaped how I approach any support I had to do going forward. The first big project I was involved in was the upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10 clients throughout the company building. Instead of just upgrading Windows, our department lead decided it was best to buy completely new small form factor computers to get rid of old hardware. My task in all of this was to make appointments with employees to get their hardware swapped and make sure no files were saved on desktop, no backups for that. For our employee of the story, I managed to get an appointment just before lunch break, emphasizing that no files were to be saved on the desktop to avoid losing important data. As I arrived, they just finished working on a file and I immediately spot files on the desktop. You should move the files on the desktop to your home folder, otherwise you won't have access to them anymore. Employee: oh, those are just temporary files, I don't need them anymore. Should we move them just in case? Employee: nope, not needed. Alright, fine. Then please turn off your computer so I can swap it for your new one. Employee: sure. They then proceed to turn off both monitors. A bit dumbfounded: okay, sure, but please turn off your computer as well, otherwise I won't be able to swap it. Employee: I don't know how, cause I don't see anything anymore. While still dumbfounded, proceed to turn the monitors back on and turn off the computer. The employee left for lunch while I was swapping it for the new one. A day later I get a call from said employee that important documents are missing from the desktop. Edit, formatting. It's a Wednesday morning. I've just had to do an usual new hire intro since this one started Wednesday, not Monday. Relaxing after an hour of yammering away about policy and where stuff is, I get a ticket about updating a notarizing program because there's a deadline, it's not working, and stuff needs to go out today. So, I'm working the Teams call. Pocket buzzes with my cell going off, yay, call forwarding. Right? Hello, and Dan speaking. Mispronouncing my name, I need your help. New hires email doesn't show in the search bar in Outlook when I search for them. So, a really not important issue since I know new hire has an email address. We all have first initial last name at company.com here. So to try and understand how I should place this beyond absolute bottom of the stack, how critical is this? After a perceivable, microsecond pause, everything is urgent, bye. Confused, I return to my work. After I finish up the ticket I was in the middle of for actual moneymakers, I go see reception and explain. They very clearly want none of it and and me dismissively. After catching the vibe but still explaining the issue, I say okay, and so you understand this does not constitute an urgent issue. They raise their hands and say, but it's urgent for me. Urgent for thee is not, necessarily, urgent for me. Back around 2005 or so, an account exec at the PR firm I worked for bought a domain name for a client website and put it on her own credit card. Then she ignored the 90, 60, 30-day renewal reminders. We weren't working on the project, she contracted it out versus go with the in-house web development team, and, when the URL/domain went dark and wouldn't work, she flipped. I got a livid phone call from her telling me I needed to get the site back up and online quick because they were going live on national TV to advertise it. Good morning America. I calmly explained that there is nothing I can do since she bought the domain using her personal card, not our corporate account. And, even if she renewed the domain, I'm not in control of the global DNS servers and can't guarantee how fast things will work again. She wasn't happy with that, so, after I hung up with her, I immediately heard my manager's phone ring. I walked over and told him what was going on while he had her on mute just ranting away. When he told her the same things I had, she didn't like it. Next thing we know, our senior manager gets a call and now there's 3 people who told her we can't fix it. The site is up and available by the IP address, but the DNS domain issue is her problem, not ours. We hang up on that call and, within 10 minutes, my senior manager gets a call from our CIO asking what's going on. He got a call from her and told her the same thing 3 of us had already tried to explain. He hung up, got all of us on a conference call, and explained, in excruciating detail why this problem was hers and why we can't fix it right away. The CIO explained why there's an in-house web development team, why we have a corporate account with Verizon, and why we need to be kept in the loop for these launches and campaigns. We didn't not want to help, but when you get a phone call at 8 a.m. and the site is supposed to be up and live for Good Morning America at 9 a.m., then there's not much we can do at that point. After she's called everyone and we explained things to her that she didn't want to believe. She also had a long history of not wanting to follow the process. We did help her get the domain name renewed, but by the time that happened, we'd spent enough time on the phone that 9 a.m. came and went. This was also a PR firm which, from my experience, is full of entitled prima donnas. We never heard from her again and I resigned from that position shortly thereafter. Hello TFTS. We just got back a broken computer from a customer few days ago, out of warranty. I've seen him holding his $2K laptop by the screen like a kid with a toy, but that's none of my business. Truth it, the screen seemed broken, and I think he used it as an hammer. I can't get other explanation on the physical damage on the computer. Whatever, the PC doesn't work anymore, since last week, can't get any power, even when plugged in. Motherboard was probably tired of this %, and committed suicide. The laptop itself is 5 years, while being still good, it's too damaged to be worth spending money on changing hardware. So we will sell a new one. Now the story, the user have a company cloud, is using Azure AD and everything. He should have no important files on there, right? Well, it appears that he keep a lot of his files locally, for whatever reason. So we have to get the data back, right? No problem, I plug out the drive, get an external NVMe to USB adapter, and get the drive on my computer. Problem, Windows tell me that BitLocker was enabled and that I need the BitLocker key. I tell them that I need the key in order to recover the data. A key? What key? Bad news, we don't enable BitLocker except if the customer asks for encryption. I look for old tickets, and nothing about disk encryption from this customer. He enabled it. I call the customer, and explain him that we don't enable it by default, and didn't have any ticket asking for us to enable it, so he made it by himself. Then I proceed to tell him a story, about a customer that had the same issue, enabling the BitLocker and got an hardware problem, and we couldn't get the data back, but was lucky enough to have the PC hardware changed under warranty and got his data back after few weeks. He understood, no problem, he's aware that he is faulty, trust me on this one, I know you can't believe this but yeah, he will take the new computer and so on. And the evening, I remember the guy from few years ago. It was him. The same guys. 3 years ago, same problem. I was new on this company so I didn't know all the customer pretty well, but I was pretty sure that was the same guy, and don't understand why he don't remember it, or maybe he remember it but was ashamed, and that's why he understood so quickly the problem. I logged into the Azure AD with an admin account, go to the users, list the computer, and click on it. What I see? A BitLocker key. I saved this damn key on his Azure account 3 years ago, probably without telling him. Thanks old me. Never ever enable BitLocker without saving the key, and if you're an end user, without warning your IT service. AD, Azure and local, are your best friend in keeping the key safe, you should save them there. So I've been more so autonomous in my role as of the last few years, cloud architecture requiring little to no user communication. Pretty swift. And the other week my manager ran out of people to help with a 365 merger tenant-to-tenant migration and asked if I could assist and also provide end-user support after cutover. Got the job done, cutover wasn't too bad, not many issues. Lady called me up, she was the lead administration lady for the merged company and she had issues with her OneDrive not syncing. It took 20 minutes for me to understand what her problem was. She called and stated her Outlook had no documents and that I had broken it. I kept asking simple questions like Outlook documents? Attachments? Can you elaborate please, and she just kept getting angry at me, telling me that I have ruined it all and her Outlook documents are all gone and I need to fix it as she cannot do her Outlook work. After 20 minutes I finally get TeamViewer on her machine and jump on and I tell her to show me. She opens up File Explorer and lo and behold she thinks the File Explorer is called Outlook. signed into her OneDrive and they all appeared. I am dumbfounded. How are so many people in lead roles still so illiterate in technology when their sole job is on a computer? My 55-year-old mother is better and she barely knows how to use a computer. Edit, spelling and formatting. Sorry you, beardy I ended up getting on my desktop at home to fix this abomination. I work in IT for a semiconductor manufacturer, lots of users, lots of work. One engineer, we'll call her engineer, recently received an upgrade from an old laptop. Usually our users get a laptop with an i5 CPU and 16 GB of RAM. Engineer got an i7 laptop with an NVIDIA GPU, just an MX, no biggie. Since we only had a handful of those i7 laptops, we didn't bother creating a new image for them and instead opted to using the same image from the i5 ones. It's the same model, just different CPU and an added GPU. What could go wrong? Obviously right off the bat, those laptops have a ton of issues and we end up switching them out to the regular i5 ones, which to be honest, these users demand is Microsoft Office apps, Teams and the occasional statistical analysis software, but engineer stuck it out, living with the issues. Last couple of days engineers' issues become more frequent and worse, like random freezes leading to loss of unsaved work. Today engineer came to work and, well, her laptop won't turn on, won't display output to the external monitors through the docking station and was just a plain Me, being absolutely pissed at this POS laptop went for the simplest solution, moving the NVMe drive to a laptop befitting the image, which by now has gotten a newer CPU generation and is just newer and plain better. This took about an hour making sure everything works. I call engineer back and let her know the laptop is ready. She asks me what I've done and she immediately seems upset. I try to get her to explain what's wrong for 10 minutes, trying to convince her this laptop is better, is more fitting of her needs, it'll have fewer to no issues, less downtime for her, less troubleshooting time for me etc. etc. After 10 minutes of going back and forth with her wanting the old laptop back, she says I got that laptop on my birthday. Well, needless to say, I just told her giving her the old laptop is a no-go, it's not worth any of our time. But I wonder, how can a grown woman, who went through engineering school, who's in charge of tens of millions of dollars worth of silicon, can look at a company laptop that does nothing but give her headache and think this is a birthday present worth keeping? TL, drive. Users company laptop bad, give new laptop. User no want new laptop because get old laptop on birthday.